He was 9 years old and knew how to recognize fear in another child's eyes. The truck had been parked for 3 hours, and no one else seemed to notice the scratches on the back door. But the driver wasn't alone, and the child inside the trailer wasn't sleeping, because when Edge Rider finally looked into the boy's eyes, he realized it was too late to simply call the police. Whatever was happening there had already begun long ago. The Route 89 gas station never closed. Fluorescent lights flickering above the cracked asphalt. The smell of diesel mixed with reheated coffee. Truckers dragging their feet to the bathroom while the cold March wind cut the skin of anyone who dared to linger too long. Edge Rider hadn't planned on stopping there. He was just crossing Nebraska, returning from a funeral in Omaha, when his Harley's fuel reserve light started flashing red. He pulled over near Pump 3, turned off the engine, and felt the heavy silence that always came after hours on the road. He slowly took off his helmet, ran a hand through his gray hair, and looked around with the attentiveness that 20 years on the road teaches a man to have. That's when he saw the boy. He stood near the trash can, too thin for the jacket he was wearing, his sneakers torn, his jeans stained with dried mud. He couldn't have been more than 9 years old. But those weren't the eyes of a 9-year-old. They were the eyes of someone who had already seen things he shouldn't have. The boy stared intently at the white truck parked in the darkest corner of the gas station. An old Peterbilt, paint peeling, no company logo. It had been there since Edge arrived, and probably even before. Edge filled up the tank, paid inside the store, and grabbed a coffee that looked like it had been made last week. When he returned, the boy was still there, standing, motionless, as if he were waiting for something, or someone. The biker got on his motorcycle, started the engine, ready to leave, ready to forget. But then the boy moved. 3 quick steps to the side of the Harley, small hands gripping the guardrail, a low, urgent voice breaking at the end. "Sir, that truck." Edge looked at him. Really looked. He saw the dark circles under his eyes, the trembling in his fingers, the way he glanced over his shoulder every 2 seconds. "That truck," the boy repeated, and this time his voice was just a hoarse whisper. "It's been parked here since yesterday afternoon. The driver, he just keeps walking around, looking. But he never fills up the tank, never buys anything, and I saw—" The boy stopped. He swallowed hard, his eyes filled with tears. "I saw her." Edge turned off the engine, the wind stopped blowing, and in the silence that formed between them, something very ancient and very dark began to take shape. "Who did you see, kid?" The boy pressed his lips together. He looked again at the white truck, at the dark windows of the cab, at the trailer's back door, which had strange marks, scratches, as if someone had tried to get out from the inside. "A girl," he whispered. "She was at the cabin window, for a second, just a second, and she was—" He didn't finish. He didn't need to, because Edge Rider had seen that expression before, on other roads, at other gas stations, on other children that no one else noticed. The truck driver left the store at that exact moment, tall, broad, cap pulled over his eyes, walking too slowly, looking around too slowly, like someone who has time, like someone who is in no hurry, like someone who knows that nobody is paying attention. He got into the cabin. He closed the door, but he didn't start the engine. He just sat there, waiting, and Edge Rider knew, in that moment, that if he left now, if he simply started his motorcycle and rode down Route 89 until he disappeared into the darkness, he would carry that look with him forever. The boy's look. The look of the invisible girl in the window. He had already carried too much. "What's your name, son?" "Tyler." "Tyler, are you sure about what you saw?" The boy nodded, quickly, desperately. She was crying, and it was with that word, crying, that everything changed, because Edge Rider knew this kind of crying. The kind no child should ever know. The kind that comes from dark places where adults do things that have no name. He got off the motorcycle. Slowly. He looked at the truck. He felt the weight of the decision forming like a stone in his chest. Tyler took a step back. You're going to help her. Edge didn't answer immediately. Because the truth was complicated. The truth was dangerous. The truth was that if he was wrong, if it was just the paranoia of a frightened child, he could end up in prison. Or worse. But if he were right... Stay here, Edge said, his voice low and firm. Don't move. Don't talk to anyone. Understand? Tyler nodded. And Edge Rider started walking toward the white truck. Each step sounded too loud on the silent asphalt. Each step brought him closer to something he couldn't undo, because the moment he knocked on that door, the moment he looked into that driver's eyes, there would be no turning back. He was 3 meters from the cabin when the driver's door opened. If your heart is racing right now, subscribe to the channel. And comment below where you're watching from, because this story is just beginning, and it will break you before it heals you. The man who stepped out of the cab looked like 1,000 other truckers Edge had seen in his life. A scruffy beard, a plaid shirt stained with grease, faded jeans. But it was his eyes that told the truth. It was always his eyes. And those eyes were empty, not nervous, not aggressive, just empty. Like bottomless pits where nothing grows, where nothing lives. Can I help you? The voice came out thick and slow, laden with a false politeness that made Edge's stomach churn. Is your truck having problems? Edge asked, keeping his voice neutral, his hands visible, his body slightly sideways. The posture of someone who doesn't want to fight, but knows how to fight. The man smiled, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. No, everything's fine, just resting. How many hours have you been resting? The question came too quickly, too directly. Edge sensed his mistake the moment the words left his mouth. But it was too late. The man's smile disappeared. Why? Are you a police officer? No. Then why are you asking? Silence. The wind started blowing. Again. Cold. Biting. Edge could feel Tyler watching from afar. He could feel the other customers at the gas station going about their lives, filling up tanks, buying sodas, completely oblivious to the abyss that was opening up there, just a few meters from them. Just worried, Edge finally said. That gas station, it's not the safest place to be parked all night. I know how to take care of myself. I'm not talking about you. The man's eyes narrowed. For a split second, something flashed. Before them, something sharp, something dangerous. So, what are you talking about then? Edge took a step to the side, casually, as if he were just shifting position. But the movement put him at an angle where he could see the side of the cabin, the passenger side window, and that's when he saw it. A small face, pale, pressed against the dark glass, eyes wide open, mouth slightly parted. A girl, no more than 7 years. And then she disappeared, pulled back, as if someone had grabbed her by the shoulders and dragged her back into the shadows. Edge's heart stopped for a full second. When he started hitting again, he was different, faster, harder. With the old violence he always tried to keep buried. Are you traveling alone? Edge asked, his voice now an octave lower. Why? Because I saw someone in the cabin. The man didn't answer immediately. He just stood there staring at Edge with that blank expression, that dead smile slowly returning to his face. My niece, he said. I'm taking her to her mother's house. In Denver. Is she okay? He's sleeping. He didn't seem to be sleeping. The smile froze. Listen here, buddy. I don't know who you think you are, but you're starting to irritate me. I suggest you get on your motorcycle and go on your way before things get unpleasant. Edge didn't move. Let me talk to her. What? The girl. Let me talk to her. Just a second, to make sure everything's okay. The man took a step forward. Bigger, closer. The threat was now physical, palpable. You're not going to talk to anyone. You're leaving here. Now. Edge felt the muscles in his shoulders tighten. He felt the old anger rising in his throat like bile. But he held back. Because violence now, violence without proof, without witnesses, without motive, would only put the girl in more danger. Okay, Edge said, raising his hand slowly. Okay, sorry to bother you. He stepped back, slowly. 3 steps. 4. The man watched him with those dead eyes until Edge turned his back and started walking back to the motorcycle. Tyler was exactly where Edge had told him to be, trembling, pale, his eyes fixed on the biker as if he were the only thing standing between the world and total collapse. Edge drove right past him. He didn't look back. He got on the motorcycle. He started the engine. And Tyler started to cry, silently, with tears streaming down her dirty face, with trembling shoulders, because he thought Edge was leaving. But Edge wasn't leaving. He was picking up his cell phone. I was dialing 911. And while waiting for the call to connect, while feeling Tyler slowly approach the motorcycle, Edge looked one last time at the white truck. The cabin was empty now. The driver had gone back inside. The windows were dark. The curtains were drawn. But Edge knew what he had seen, and he knew that the man knew it too. The call dropped. No signal. He tried again. Same thing. Shit, Edge whispered. Tyler moved closer. He'll leave, the boy whispered, his voice breaking. He always leaves before anyone notices. Edge looked at him, really looked. He saw the weight that child carried, the weight of having seen something horrible and having no one to believe him. How many times have you seen him here? 3. 3 times? Tyler nodded. Always a different truck, but always the same. It stops, stays there for a few hours, and then... The boy stopped. He couldn't go on, but Edge understood. And then he leaves with another child that no one else will ever see again. He put his cell phone away. He got off the motorcycle. He stood facing Tyler. Where do you live, son? Tyler pointed to the other side of the road. A trailer park, dim lights, old cars. Who do you live with? My grandmother. Does she know you're here? Tyler shook his head. She doesn't believe me, he whispered. Nobody believes me. Edge placed his hand on the boy's shoulder, firm, warm. I believe. And in those 2 words, in that touch, something changed between them. Because Tyler realized that finally, after so many nights alone, after so much ignored fear, someone was seeing what he saw. And Edge realized that no matter what happened now, no matter the risk, he couldn't let that truck leave that gas station. The Peterbilt's engine sputtered. He called, and it started snoring in the dark. Edge Rider wasn't always the kind of man who stopped at gas stations for frightened children. There was a time when he was the kind of man who drove right past, who ignored them, who kept going because it was easier, because it was safer, because he had his own demons and there was no room left for other people's demons. But that was before Cheyenne. Her name was Sarah. She was 6 years old, blonde hair, freckles on her nose, a smile that lit up entire rooms. Edge first saw her in a coffee-stained photo that the sheriff of Cheyenne, Wyoming, showed him 8 years ago at a gas station, not unlike this one. Have you seen this girl? The sheriff had asked, tired and desperate, clutching the photo as if it were the last thing standing between him and the abyss. And Edge had looked. He had shaken his head. No, Sheriff. I'm sorry. He continued driving. 2 weeks later, they found her body in a ditch near Laramie. Edge never forgot that photo. He never forgot the sheriff's gaze. He never forgot the feeling that perhaps if he had paid more attention, if he had stopped for 5 more minutes, If he had really looked around that post, perhaps, maybe. He carried Sarah with him ever since. Not the real girl, he never met her, but the idea of her, her weight, the silent guilt of all the maybes that accumulate when a man lives too long on the road and sees too many things he chooses not to see. And now, stopped at this gas station on Route 89, with Tyler beside him and the Peterbilt's engine roaring in the dark, Edge knew there was no more maybe. It only existed now. "Tyler," Edge said, his voice low and urgent, "I need you to do exactly what I tell you. No questions. Understand?" The boy waved. "You're going to cross the street. You're going to your house. You're going to wake up your grandmother, and you're going to tell her to call the sheriff. Tell her everything, the truck, the girl, everything. But she won't. It doesn't matter if she believes you. You make her care. Understand?" Tyler hesitated. Then he nodded again. Tyler." The boy looked at him. "You're not coming back here. No matter what happens. You're staying home. And you?" Edge looked at the truck. The brake lights had just come on, blood red on the wet asphalt. "I'll make sure he doesn't leave here." Before Tyler could respond, Edge was already moving, quickly, deliberately, not toward the truck, not yet, but toward the gas station store. The clerk was behind the counter, numb from a slow night, staring at his cell phone as if the world didn't exist beyond that small screen. "Do you have cameras here?" Edge asked without preamble. The clerk looked up, annoyed. "What?" "Security cameras. Do you record?" "Yes, but that truck over there." Edge pointed through the window. "Is it recorded? From yesterday until now?" The attendant looked at the Peterbilt, then back at Edge. "Man, I can't." Edge placed a $50 bill on the counter. "I'm not asking to see it. I just need you to keep this recording. Don't delete it. Don't overwrite it. Keep it. When the police arrive, show them." The man picked up the note. He looked at it. He looked at Edge. "Police? What's this all about?" But Edge was already leaving, because outside Peterbilt had begun to move, slowly, deliberately, leaving the position, without turning on the headlights. Edge ran. He didn't think. He just ran. The Harley was 10 meters away. The truck was gaining speed. Edge caught up to the motorcycle, got on it, and started the engine in a fluid motion that only years of muscle and memory allow. As Rodas Chiaram, he cut in front of the truck. He blocked the exit. The Peterbilt stopped, brakes screeching loudly, sharply, tearing through the night. For a moment everything stood still. The Harley engine is growling, the Peterbilt's engine roaring. 2 men, 2 vehicles, a piece of asphalt, and somewhere inside that dark cabin, a girl who didn't have a voice to scream. The driver's door opened. The man got off the bus, and this time he wasn't smiling. He had something in his hand, something that shone under the lights of the gas station. A wrench. Heavy, cold metal. "Last chance," the man said, his voice now different. No more false politeness, no more disguise, just pure, distilled threat. "Get out of the way." Edge got off the motorcycle, slowly, keeping his eyes fixed on the man. "No." "So you're stupid." The man started walking toward Edge. 3 steps, 4, the wrench dangling slightly at his side. Edge didn't move, because he knew that if he retreated now, if he showed fear, the man would advance. And if the man advanced, Edge would have to fight. And if he fought here, in the middle of the outpost, with no real witnesses, no proof of anything, the girl would disappear. "You don't know what you're getting yourself into," the man said, now only 2 meters away. "I know exactly," Edge replied, and it was at that moment that he heard a scream, weak, muffled, coming from inside the cabin. "Help!" A child's voice, desperate. "Viva!" The man froze. For a split second his gaze drifted. He looked at the cabin, then back at Edge. And in that split second, Edge saw everything. Guilt, panic, confirmation. "You just made a mistake," the man whispered, but Edge smiled, a smile without humor, without joy. "No, you committed the crime. Because now there was a witness. Now there was sound. Now there was proof." The clerk was standing in the doorway of the store, watching, with his cell phone in his hand, recording. The man realized. His expression changed, from predator to prey, and Edge knew what was coming next. Violence or escape. The man threw the wrench, not on Edge, but in the direction of the attendant. The distraction worked for half a second, just enough time for the man to run back to the truck, climb in, and lock the door. The engine roared, and Peterbilt accelerated, straight to where Edge was. Edge had exactly 2 seconds to decide between his life and the girl's. The truck was coming fast, heavy, 18 wheels of death rolling on wet asphalt. There was no room to swerve. There was no time to think. He jumped, not to the side, upwards. He gripped the passenger side rearview mirror. He felt the cold metal against the palm of his hand. He felt the impact vibrate through his bones as the truck swayed beneath him. He felt the wind steal the breath from his lungs, but he didn't let go. The driver turned the steering wheel, violently, trying to throw Edge out. The truck skidded, the rear wheels screeched, but Edge held on, because on the other side of that dirty window pressed against the passenger seat was her, the girl. Eyes wide with terror, mouth agape in a scream Edge couldn't hear over the roar of the engine. Small hands pressed against the glass, as if she were trying to reach through, trying to get to him. Edge looked directly at her. "Hold on tight," he shouted, knowing she couldn't hear, but needing her to know somehow that he wasn't going to leave her. The truck swerved sharply to the left. Edge slipped. His fingers lost their grip. For an interminable second, he was falling, the asphalt closing in rapidly, certain death. But then his other hand found the doorknob. He pulled, locked. The driver looked at him through the window and smiled. That empty smile, that dead smile, and then he floored the accelerator. The truck gained speed, 40 miles per hour, 50, 60. Edge felt his arms beginning to give way. He felt his muscles screaming. He felt the wind cutting his skin like blades. He wasn't going to be able to hold on much longer. So he did the only thing he could do. He looked at the girl again. He made eye contact. And he mouthed slowly, deliberately, "Unlock the door." She didn't move. She just stared at him, frozen. "Unlock the door," he shouted, this time loudly, knowing that the sound didn't matter, but the urgency on his face did. She understood. The small hands moved, slowly, trembling, searching for the latch. The driver noticed. He grabbed her arm. He pulled hard. The girl screamed, but she had already achieved it. Click. The door unlocked. Edge pulled. The door opened, and he threw himself inside. The inside of the cabin smelled of stale cigarettes, sweat, and something else. Something rotten. Something wrong. Edge fell sideways onto the passenger seat. The girl was pressed against the dashboard, trembling and crying. The driver took one hand off the steering wheel and tried to hit Edge in the face. But Edge was faster. He blocked. He grabbed the man's wrist. He twisted it. The scream was loud, high-pitched. The truck swerved. It crossed into the oncoming lane. A car coming from the opposite direction honked, narrowly avoided the collision, and nearly rolled over on the side of the road. "Stop that truck!" Edge yelled, tightening his grip on his wrist. "Stop it now!" The man spat. "Go fuck yourself!" And then he did something Edge didn't expect. He let go of the steering wheel. Completely. The Peterbilt turned uncontrollably. The wheels screeched. The trailer began to buckle. Jackknife. Edge let go of the man. He grabbed the steering wheel. He tried to correct himself, but it was too late. The truck went off the road. He crossed the shoulder of the road, and it flipped over. The world has turned upside down. Glass exploding, metal bending, screams, the deafening roar of 18 tons of steel colliding with the earth. Edge felt his body being thrown. He felt something breaking. He felt pain exploding in waves throughout his body. And then, silence. The kind of silence that follows violence, when the adrenaline is still high, but the world has stopped moving. Edge opened his eyes. He was upside down, trapped by the seatbelt. Blood was trickling from a cut on his forehead. He tasted metal in his mouth. "Girl," he whispered, his voice hoarse. She was a meter away from him, also strapped in, alive, conscious, looking at him with eyes that had seen death up close and survived. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, small movements, but she was alive. Edge looked at the driver. He was hanging from the belt well, but he wasn't moving. Blood running from the nose, from the mouth, eyes open, fixed on nothing. Died. Edge felt something strange. Not relief, not guilt, just emptiness. A man was dead. A monster was dead. But he couldn't feel anything but a deep, ancient exhaustion that came from somewhere he couldn't name. "We need to get out of here," Edge said, more to himself than to her. He unbuckled his seatbelt. He fell. The pain exploded in his rib. Broken, probably, but he forced himself to move. He crawled over to her. He helped unbuckle her belt. He caught her in his arms before she fell. Light. Too light. He carried her out of the wrecked cabin, into the cold night air, towards the silent road. Behind them, the trailer was on its side. The back door was half open. And that's when Edge heard another sound, weak, muffled, coming from inside the trailer. Beats. Someone is banging on the wall, from inside. Edge put the girl down. "Stay here." He went to the trailer. He opened the door forcefully. It was pitch black inside, but then his eyes adjusted, and he saw, not a child, three girls, between 6 and 10 years old, tied up, gagged, looking at him with eyes that held no more hope. Until now, Edge felt something break inside him. "It's okay," he whispered, entering the trailer and kneeling beside them. "It's okay. I'll get you out of here." His hands trembled as he untied the ropes. And then from afar, he heard sirens. Finally, the sirens were fast. Approaching. Red and blue lights painted the night like a kaleidoscope of emergency. But Edge didn't move. He stayed there, kneeling inside that trailer that smelled of fear and despair, untying ropes, removing gags, whispering words that probably didn't make sense but needed to be said. "You are safe. It's over. No one will hurt you." The 3 girls didn't speak. They just stared, like animals that had been hurt so many times that they didn't trust kindness. Edge finished untying the last one. A brunette girl with messy braids and a black eye. She didn't move away from him, but she didn't get closer either. "What's your name?" Edge asked, his voice soft. Silence. "That's fine. You don't need to tell me now." The sirens stopped. Car doors slammed shut. Voices shouted commands. "Put your hands where I can see them." Edge stood up slowly. He turned his back to the girls, shielding them with his body, and raised his hands. "I'm the guy who called," he shouted back. "The kids are here. They need an ambulance." Silence. Then footsteps. Quick, heavy. A sheriff appeared at the trailer entrance. Fat, gray mustache. Tired eyes that had seen too much. But when he saw the girls, something changed in his expression. "Jesus Christ," he whispered. More police officers arrived. Paramedics, lights, blankets, voices trying to be kind but only adding more noise amidst the trauma. Edge stepped back. He let the professionals take over. He got out of the trailer and leaned against the side of The overturned truck, feeling every broken rib, every bruised muscle, every drop of adrenaline finally draining from his body. Tyler was there. He came running as soon as the police cars passed his house. Against all of Edge's orders, against common sense. Just a 9-year-old boy who needed to know if he had helped. "You did it," Tyler said, breathless, tears streaming down his face. "You managed to save her." Edge looked at him. Really looked. He saw the relief. He saw the weight lifted from that child's shoulders. "We did it," Edge said. "You saw it. You told me." The sheriff approached. He looked Edge up and down. He saw the blood, the torn clothes, the Harley lying 50 meters away. "You need medical attention." "I'm fine." "No, you're not." The sheriff gestured to a paramedic. "And you're going to have to answer some questions." "I know." "Like, why the hell did you decide to jump onto a moving truck instead of just writing down the license plate and letting us do our job?" Edge didn't respond immediately. Because how would he explain it? How could he say that 8 years ago a girl named Sarah died because he did nothing? How could he say that every time he closed his eyes, he saw that coffee-stained photo? "Because if I didn't," Edge finally said, "he would disappear. And you would never find those girls in time." The sheriff stared at him, long, hard. Then he nodded. "You're probably right. And I should arrest you for interfering with an investigation, for putting these children in danger, for harassment, for—" "Then arrest me." The sheriff sighed. He looked at the truck, at the girls being carried on stretchers, at Tyler standing next to Edge as if protecting the biker. "Go get treatment, and then go to the police station to give your statement, and then—" He paused. "And then we'll see." He turned to leave. He stopped. He looked over his shoulder. "Thank you, even though I'm an idiot." Edge almost smiled. The hospital in Alliance, Nebraska, wasn't large. 15 beds, 2 doctors, 1 nurse who looked like she hadn't slept since the Clinton administration. Edge was sitting on a stretcher, shirtless, while a doctor who was too young for the job wrapped his ribs in tight bandages. 3 broken ribs, the doctor said. Contusion on the left lung, deep cut on the forehead that will leave a scar, and probably a mild concussion. He looked at Edge. "You should be dead." "This isn't the first time I've heard that." The doctor didn't find it funny. On the stretcher next to her, separated by a thin curtain, lay the first girl, the one Edge saw in the truck window. Her name was Emma, 7 years old, from Kansas, missing for 3 weeks. Her mother was arriving, by car, a 6-hour drive, crying on the phone, repeating, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," until the word lost its meaning. The other 2 girls were in another room. One of them hadn't spoken yet. The other just kept repeating, "I want to go home," like a broken mantra. The police were interviewing Tyler. He was sitting in a chair in the waiting room with his grandmother beside him, a tiny woman who kept apologizing for not believing her grandson. And somewhere in that hospital, in a closed room, the driver's body was being prepared for autopsy. Edge finished getting dressed. The nurse gave him a prescription for painkillers that he knew he would never use. "Are you going to stay here?" she asked. "Why?" "The girls. Some of them asked about you." Edge stopped. He looked at her. "They don't know me. You saved them. That's enough." But it wasn't. Because Edge knew the truth. He didn't save those girls. He just pulled them out of one nightmare and put them in another. The nightmare of lawsuits, of therapy, of questions they would have to answer about things no child should know. He saved their bodies. But the souls would take years to heal, if they ever healed at all. "I need to give my testimony," Edge said, looking away. He left the hospital and went to the police station. Small. 2 cells, 1 sheriff and 3 policemen to cover a town of 8,000 people. The interrogation lasted 3 hours. They asked all the questions. How did he know? Why didn't he wait for the police? Did he touch the girls? Did he know the driver? Did he have any prior connection to the case? Edge answered everything, calmly, honestly. And finally the sheriff slid a photo across the table. The driver. But alive this time. An old photo. Of a driver's license. His name was Marcus Holt, 47 years old, from Idaho. Independent truck driver. No criminal record. Edge looked at the photo. At those empty eyes. Without any prior record as far as you know, Edge said. The sheriff nodded. The FBI is taking over the case. They think there might be others. Other girls. Other states. Edge felt something cold run down his spine. How many? We don't know yet. But the trailer. It had modifications. Hidden compartments. Locks. On the inside, this wasn't built overnight. Silence. You did the right thing, the sheriff finally said. Even if you were an idiot, you saved those 3 girls, and maybe you stopped him from taking more. But Edge didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired. So deeply tired. It was already dawn when Edge finally left the police station. The Harley had been towed. I was at a repair shop waiting for repairs that would take days. He walked through the empty streets of Alliance. He passed the gas station. The lights were still on. The attendant was there, wiping down the counter, trying to return to normal as if nothing had happened. But Edge knew that something had happened. Something that would change that small town forever. He found a motel, $15 a night, smelled of mold and cheap disinfectant. He lay down on the bed without taking off his boots. He looked at the ceiling, and for the first time in 8 years, he didn't see Sarah's face. He saw Emma and the other. 2 girls. Live. Scared, but alive. And he realized something. He hadn't saved Sarah. He would never be able to save her, but he had saved them, and maybe that would be enough. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in a long time, he slept without nightmares. Edge woke up with the sun shining through the motel window and a throbbing pain in his ribs that brutally reminded him that he was 52 years old and no longer invincible. He dragged himself out of bed, took a cold shower, because the hot water had run out 20 minutes ago, and put on the same dirty, torn clothes from the night before. He had no others. When he left the room, there were 3 Harleys parked outside, 3 men sitting on them, waiting. Edge stopped. He looked. He recognized Iron Mike in his early 60s, white beard down to his chest, more scars than clean skin. Founder of the Nebraska chapter of the Iron Saints. Next to him, Rattlesnake, so named because he had been bitten by a rattlesnake during a rally in Nevada and had survived only through sheer stubbornness. Bald, tattoos running up his neck. And finally, the youngest of the group, Tommy, in his early 30s, ex-military. He still had the eyes of someone who had seen war and never fully recovered. Edge wasn't a member of the Iron Saints. He was a lone wolf. He always had been. But he knew these men. He knew the code by which they lived. And they knew him. "I heard you had an interesting night," Iron Mike said, his voice hoarse from cigarettes and whiskey. "Who told you?" "The road speaks." Mike got off his motorcycle. He walked over to Edge. He looked at the bandage on his forehead, at the way he was holding his ribs. 3 girls, a child trafficking ring, you alone. Edge did not respond. "You're stupid, Edge. You always have been, but you're also—" Mike paused, searching for the right word. "Necessary. I don't need a babysitter. I'm not offering." Mike nodded to the others. "But we heard the FBI is coming, and that they're finding things that suggest this Marcus Holt wasn't working alone." Edge felt his stomach sink. "Are you saying there's more?" "I'm saying there's a network, and you just ripped a thread from that network, and now—" Mike smiled humorlessly. "Now they know you exist." Silence. Rattlesnake approached. We came to offer you protection. I'm not asking what you need, Rattlesnake interrupted. I'm telling you what we're going to do. Tommy, the youngest, finally spoke. His voice was calm and controlled. You did the right thing yesterday, and because of that, you've become a target. If there's a network, if there are other people involved, they'll want to silence you before you become a bigger problem. Edge looked at the three men. He saw something in their eyes. Not pity, not admiration, respect. And what do you propose? Iron Mike placed his hand on Edge's shoulder, heavy, firm. We'd like you to stay with us until this is resolved, or until we're sure you're not being targeted by anyone. What if I refuse? Mike smiled. So you're going to wake up every day with us parked outside, because like it or not, you're one of us now. Edge wanted to argue. He wanted to say that he didn't need anyone, that he had always worked alone. But the truth was that he was tired. Tired of fighting alone, tired of carrying heavy loads alone. And maybe just this once, it would be okay to accept help. Okay, Edge said. Mike nodded. Your motorcycle's at Jimmy's shop. We've already sorted everything out. He'll have it as good as new in 3 days. How much do I owe? Nothing. It's paid for. Edge looked at him. Mike, forget it. You saved 3 children. It's the least we can do. 2 days later, the FBI set up an operations room in Alliance. 4 agents, computers, maps, photos. They called Edge in for questioning again. This time it was different, more serious, more urgent. The agent in charge was a woman named Santos, early 40, short hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She placed a photo on the table in front of Edge. Do you know this woman? Edge looked. Blonde, early 30s, pretty smile. No. Her name was Rebecca Marsh. It was. Because we found her body 3 days ago, buried in a wooded area near Cheyenne. Edge felt something icy brush against him. Cheyenne, where Sarah had disappeared. Santos saw the reaction. He posted another photo. This is Jennifer Cole, 29 years old. Missing for 6 months. We found her body yesterday, also in Cheyenne. One more photo. This is Daniel Ruiz, 34, truck driver, friend of Marcus Holt, also dead, found in a motel room in Nevada with a gunshot wound to the head. Edge looked at the photos, at the pattern forming. Are you saying that? I'm saying that when you stopped Marcus Holt, you didn't stop a lone predator. You dismantled an operation, and someone is cleaning up the traces, killing witnesses. Exactly. Santos leaned forward. Mr. Ryder, I need you to understand the gravity of this. We believe there are at least 3 more people involved in this network, and they are nervous, and nervous people do desperate things. Did you kill me? Like making you disappear before you remember any detail that could lead us to them. Edge leaned back in his chair. He felt the pain in his ribs. He felt the weight of what was being said. So what do you want from me? I want you to enter witness protection. No. Mr. Ryder. No, Edge repeated. I'm not going to hide. Santos sighed. Then you're going to die. Maybe, but at least I'll die being myself. Silence. Then Santos placed another photo on the table, and Edge felt the world stop. Ira Tyler, taken from a distance of him leaving school. They know who the boy is, Santos said, his voice low. And if you don't cooperate, if you don't let us protect you, they'll use him to get to you. Edge looked at the photo, at that 9-year-old boy who just wanted to do the right thing, and he realized it. He had no choice. No more. What do you need me to do? The plan was simple. Edge would remain Edge, visible, accessible, but now under 24/7 federal surveillance, bait. They wanted whoever was behind the network to try to reach him, and when they did, the FBI would be waiting. But Edge knew the truth. Simple plans never worked. Tyler was moved to a safe house with his grandmother, 2 cities further away, under false names. But Edge could see the fear in the boys' eyes when they said goodbye, the feeling of being punished for doing the right thing. "I'm so sorry," Edge said, kneeling beside him. "It's not your fault," Tyler replied, but his voice was broken. I didn't want any of this to happen." "I know, son, I know." Emma and the other girls had already been reunited with their families. Press conferences, cameras, public acknowledgements. But Edge didn't go. He stayed in the shadows, because he knew that heroes don't live long when there are powerful people trying to silence them. A week has passed. Nothing happened. Edge returned to the road, with his Harley repaired, with federal agents discreetly following him in unmarked SUVs. He stopped at diners, at gas stations, at cheap motels, waiting. Iron Mike and the others stayed nearby too, not that close, but always within a connection of each other. "You're being too cautious," Mike said one night while they were drinking bad beer at a roadside bar. "Or not." "Cautious enough." Mike looked at him. "Do you regret it?" "Of what?" "For having saved those girls. If you knew it would turn out like this, would you still do it?" Edge did not hesitate. Try. And it was true, because he had seen their eyes. He had seen hope returning, and that was worth any price, even if the price was your life. In the second week they made a mistake. The federal agents relaxed, just for a moment, just enough. Edge was stopped at a gas station in Wyoming, filling up the, tank, gazing at the orange horizon of the sunset. A man approached, dress shirt, tie, briefcase. He looked like a salesman. But Edge knew that walk, that posture, military or ex-military. "Edge Rider?" the man asked, smiling. "Who wants to know?" The man extended his hand. "My name is Carter. I work for an organization that is very interested in speaking with you." Edge did not shake hands. "I'm not interested. I think it should be." Carter put the briefcase on the floor. He opened it. Inside, a photo. By Iron Mike, leaving your house, with a target drawn in red above its head. "You have 24 hours to find us," Carter said, his voice now cold, "or every person you care about will start to disappear, starting with the old man." Edge felt the anger exploding. He grabbed Carter by the tie. He pushed him against the gas pump. "Who sent you?" Carter smiled. "You'll find out. In 24 hours. And then something strange happened. Carter began convulsing. Foam was coming out of his mouth. His eyes were rolling back. Edge let go of him. Carter fell to the ground, trembling, stopping, died. The federal agents showed up running. Too late. And when they turned Carter's body over, they found something in his mouth, a poison capsule. He had killed himself. And Edge realized there were no 24 hours. There never was. It was a distraction, because at that exact moment, somewhere in Nebraska, Iron Mike was being kidnapped. The call came 2 hours later. Private number. Distorted voice. "You have something that belongs to us. And now we have something that belongs to you." Edge was in the back seat of a federal SUV, with Santos driving and 2 other agents in the front seats. They were racing back to Nebraska, trying to get to Mike's house. Too late. The door was open, signs of a struggle, blood on the floor. But Mike had disappeared. Edge picked up his cell phone. "What do you want?" "You know what we want." "I have nothing." "You have a memory. You saw things. You spoke with the children. You know more than you should." "I've already told everything to the FBI." Laughter from the other side, cold, humorless. "No, you didn't tell me, because there's something you saw, something you haven't yet realized you saw, and we need to make sure you never do. If you kill me, the FBI will..." "The FBI won't do anything, because in 48 hours, your friend will be dead. And his body will be found with enough evidence for everyone to think you were involved from the beginning." Edge felt his blood run cold. You can't. We can. And we will. Unless... Silence. Unless what? You come to us. Alone. Without the FBI. Without your biker friends. Just you. And then what? Then your friend lives, and you... Well, we'll see. Where? An address. In the middle of nowhere. 2 hours north. You have until midnight. If you don't show up, or if you show up with company... The voice paused. We'll start removing fingers. The call dropped. Santos looked at Edge. You're not going. I go. It's an obvious trap. I know. Then why? Edge looked at her. Really looked. Because he would do the same for me. Santos opened her mouth to argue, but then she stopped, because she saw something in Edge's eyes, something that couldn't be negotiated. Loyalty, the most dangerous and most sacred thing in the world of motorcyclists. We'll follow you, Santos finally said. From a distance, but we'll be there. No, they'll sense it, and they'll kill him. Edge, you don't understand. Her voice was low, controlled. This is my code, my choice, and you're not going to interfere. He got out of the SUV. He walked to his Harley. Rattlesnake and Tommy were waiting. They had heard. They knew. We'll go with you, Tommy said. No. Mike would do it for us. And that's why you're going to stay, because if I don't come back, someone needs to take care of the girls, of the families, of Tyler. You are that someone. Rattlesnake spat on the ground. You're stubborn as hell. I learned from the best. Edge got on the motorcycle. He started the engine. And without looking back, he disappeared into the darkness. The address led to an abandoned warehouse near Scottsbluff. Rusty metal walls, broken windows, tall grass. A single car parked out front. Black sedan, tinted windows. Edge stopped 100 meters away. He turned off the engine. He got off the motorcycle. The silence was absolute. Only the wind whistling through the cracks in the way. Metal. He walked to the door, open, creaking on its hinges. Inside, darkness. Mike, Edge shouted, echo. Then a light came on, dim, at the back of the warehouse, and Edge saw. Mike tied to a chair, swollen face, eye closed, dried blood on his nose. But I'm alive. 3 men surrounded him, hooded, weapons in their hands, and a woman, standing behind everyone else. Expensive suit, hair tied back, eyes as cold as ice. Mr. Ryder, she said. Her voice was calm, polite, as if they were in a business meeting. Thank you for coming. Edge stopped 10 meters from them. Who are you? My name doesn't matter. What matters is that you now understand the gravity of the situation. Let him go. Sure, as soon as we have a conversation. About what? The woman stepped forward. About what you saw in Marcus's truck, not the girls. The girls don't matter anymore. But there was something else there. A box. Under the driver's seat. Edge tried to remember. The accident. The overturned cabin. The chaos. Was there a box? I didn't see any boxes. Think. I am not. One of the hooded men punched Mike, the sound of flesh against flesh. Mike grunted. Think more. Edge closed his eyes. He went back to that moment, the cabin upside down. Blood, glass, and, yes, something small, black, lying near the pedal. A metal box. He had seen it, and then I had forgotten. Yes, Edge said. There was a box. And what did you do with her? Nothing. I left her there. The woman smiled. Liar. I'm telling the truth. The box wasn't there when the FBI searched the truck, so either you took it or the local police took it or someone else took it before anyone else arrived. Edge frowned. I didn't get it. So who? And then Edge understood. Tyler. Tyler was at the gas station when the accident happened. Tyler came running. Tyler arrived before the police. Tyler had seen things that no one else had seen. You're not going to touch him, Edge said, his voice low. Dangerous. So you know. Who has it? I know that if you lay a finger on him, I will hunt you down, and everyone you love, and there will be no place in the world where you will be safe." The woman laughed. "You think you scare me? You are one. We are many. Then kill me. Now. But you'll never find the box." Silence. The woman was calculating, weighing her options. "Bring her to us by noon tomorrow, and we'll release your friend." "How do I know you won't kill him anyway?" "You don't know," she smiled. "But this is your only chance." Edge looked at Mike. He saw the exhaustion, the pain, but he also saw determination. And Mike shook his head. "No, don't bring the box. Let me die." But Edge was never good at following orders. "All right," he said. "Tomorrow, noon." The woman nodded. The hooded men moved, and Edge was forced to leave. When he looked back, Mike was yelling something, but Edge couldn't hear it. The door closed, and he was left alone in the darkness. Edge did not return to Alliance. He went straight to the safe house where Tyler was. He knocked on the door at 3 in the morning. Federal agents stopped him. Santos was there. "What are you doing?" "I need to talk to the boy." "No. Saints, please." She saw something in his face, despair, and she agreed. Tyler was sleeping. Edge woke him gently. "Tyler, I need to ask you something." The boy sat down, scared, confused. "After the accident, when you came running, did you take anything from the truck?" Silence. Tyler looked away. "Tyler, I'm not angry, but I need to know." "There was a box," the boy whispered, "small, black, lying on the floor, and I don't know why, but I picked it up." "Where is she now?" "In my room, under the bed." Edge closed his eyes. He breathed. "Did you open it?" "No, it's locked." "Did you tell anyone?" Tyler shook his head. Edge hugged the boy tightly. "You did the right thing. You always have." So he went to the bedroom. He looked under the bed, and he found it. A metal box, heavy, locked with a padlock. He didn't open it there. He didn't need to, because he knew what was inside. Names, addresses, records, evidence that would bring down the entire network. Noon. In the warehouse, Edge arrived, alone. But this time the box was with Santos, and 2 FBI tactical teams were waiting 3 blocks away. The woman was there, smiling, confident. "The box. Let him go first." "No. So there's no cash register." Impasse. Then Mike yelled, "They can't take it anymore, Edge. No matter what happens to me." One of the hooded men hit him. Hard. Mike fell out of his chair, and Edge advanced. He didn't think. He just reacted. He punched the first man, broke his nose, grabbed the gun. He shot at the second one, chest. He fell. The third one shot back. The bullet struck Edge in the shoulder. Fire. Pain. But he didn't stop. He advanced. He punched. The gun fell. Arm lock. It broke. And then there was only the woman. She had a gun pointed at Mike. "One more step and I'll..." "Shoot." Edge stopped, bleeding, gasping for breath. "You're not going to get out of here alive anyway," he said. "Then I'll take him with me." Silence. And then Mike smiled, blood on his teeth. "It is worth it." And before anyone could react, he threw himself forward. He grabbed the woman's leg. He pulled. She fell. The gun went off. It missed. Edge advanced. "Disarm her." The FBI agents burst through the door. "Federal police on the ground." The woman raised her hands, and that's the end of it. 3 months later, Mike was at home, recovering, complaining that he was bored. The 3 girls were in therapy, slowly rebuilding. Tyler went back home, with his grandmother, no longer alone, no longer discredited. Edge. Edge was on a road. Any road, because that's where he belonged. But this time, when he saw children at gas stations, he didn't look away. He would stop, because he learned that ignoring was dying slowly. And sometimes the right thing to do was the hardest thing to do. But it was always worth it. always. If this story touched you, if you felt every second like I felt writing it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I believe." Because stories like this need to be told, and people like Edge, they exist, on roads, at gas stations, waiting for the right moment to make a difference. The next video is already on the screen. It doesn't stop now. The road continues.